can act as a 50-second council member. You can introduce legislation. You can hold hearings. You can vote, but only in the event of a tie, which is highly unlikely. And you preside over the city council. 4, you can litigate. You can issue freedom of information requests. You can sue whoever you want, which I love. And 5, you do investigations of agencies to make sure that there's no duplication of services or fraud. You all can recall when I uncovered the biggest scam in the city of New York, known as City Time.
That's right. That's right. Yes. That's right. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
We recovered $500 million as a result of a scam where the mayor said, "Oh, don't worry, Tish, it's under control." A contract which started out at $46 million and ballooned to $800 million. No one was watching the store. What is City Time? It's a computerized timekeeping system.
And it doesn't work.
And it doesn't work.
I can attest to that.
People walk in, they do a scan of their palm, and it's tied to their computer. But the reality is that this individual, this company, the employees all had worked for the Giuliani administration. And then he formed a corporation, right? And he sold his services to the city. And the city accepted his services. He basically said, "I'm going to provide technology to all the agencies." Well, in fact, he did not. He was ripping us all off. He hired his wife, his brother, his uncle, his girlfriend's uncle. And the bottom line is a contract which started out at 46, ballooned to 800 million, and the mayor was renewing it and renewing it and renewing it. We held not 1 hearing, not 2 hearings, but 3 hearings. The company, as you know now, has been indicted. There's individuals in jail. We recovered $500 million to save $5.
That's right. That's right. Yes, you did.
The mayor called me and said, "You were right, I should have listened." Well, I had more contracts. I just want you to know, there's a list of contracts that are out there because we outsource our services to these private contracts because the mayor believes that the private industry knows better than the public. And I disagree with him. And so I had a list of contracts. Well, I went in and said, "I want to investigate all these contracts. They're costing us millions. I want to see if there's any fraud with these." Well, next week I got transferred. I was transferred to sanitation. But God is good. Because I was transferred to sanitation, and what? We had the biggest snowstorm ever.
That's
and where was
right.
the mayor? He was in Bermuda, right? And where was I? On CNN. So God is good. So we had hearings all throughout the city. We implemented a wide range of reforms. Went to determine there's an emergency in the city of New York, and snow reforms. And I'm really happy about that. And then, as all of you know, my claim to fame is I challenged the developer in Atlantic Yards primarily because of the abuse of eminent domain and because there are a number of broken promises. There's only 1 affordable building going forward. The rest of the development is on hold right now. There's 15 other buildings. The individuals that he promised to hire, he's only hired a few of them. And a lot of them, as you know, there's a big conflict down there. If you go to Atlantic Yards last week, there was a big rat. And the rat is because the unions he's not paying people living wages. And so so a number of individuals right now are upset at him. In addition to that, the open space is minimal. So there's a lot of broken promises in regards to Atlantic Yards.
That's right.
And the issue, unfortunately, will continue, and the next council member will have to continue to stay on top of the Atlantic Yards project to make sure that that developer honors his promises and commitments. And so the public advocate can do more, but we only can do more with an additional budget. And the next challenge for the next public advocate is to ensure that the budget of the public advocate is raised. Because right now, the budget under Mark Green, who was our first public advocate, was $6 million. He had 60 employees, right? Then under Betsy Gotbound, they cut the budget in half to $3 million. And under Bill de Blasio, the current public advocate, his budget is only $1.8 million. He only has 20 employees.
Wow.
I believe right now that that's in violation of the law, in violation of the charter, because it's impossible for anyone to do their charter duties with just 20 employees and someone who relies heavily on volunteers. And I am considering possible litigation. I am also concerned, and I hope the next council member will consider this. As you know, in this district, they're closing a lot of public schools.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They're closing public schools because they're arguing that they're under capacity and they're underperforming. And they're opening up charter schools. Now, fundamentally, I don't have a problem with a charter school as long as it's in its own building. But they're co-locating schools and it's causing tension. And I'm pitted against 2 sets of parents. And that's wrong. And in some of our schools, you have separate and unequal. And so the next council member, whoever that may be, is going to have to continue to stay on top of co-locations, and we're going to have to reform co-locations in the city of New York, because we should not have a two-tiered system for public education, particularly charter schools, which I've argued are not enrolling enough children with special needs, autistic children, and they basically have a zero tolerance policy for children who are different. I also believe that the next city council member is going to have to make sure that whoever is the next chancellor is an educator and not a business person.
Yes.
And that we respect teachers and that we respect principals. And that we defer to them.
And parents.
And parents. And that parents are involved in decision making each and every day with the lives of their children. That is so critically important. And it's really important that the next council member, whoever that may be, is a grassroots person, because it's really all about organizing. Organizing parents, organizing tenants, organizing people in the community. Right now, as most of you know, the next major controversy in this district is they want to demolish 2 libraries. So, where are the 2 libraries? Pacific and 4th Avenue.
That's right.
And the other library is on Cadman Plaza in Brooklyn Heights. But most of the people who patronize that library come from 11238, right here. And they want to demolish those 2 libraries and do what? They want to take the lot, they want to build 1 library in a new shiny building in BAM parking lot. Yeah, that's the plan. And so the next city council member, it's going to land on their lap. I oppose that, because I don't think that library is slated for residents who've been here for a long time. It's primarily for a new constituency, and that's wrong.
Yes, right.
And I support libraries, and I believe that we should do all that we can to support libraries, and right now that's the plan on the table. So, saying all of that, you know, I'm running. I need your support, and more importantly, I need your prayers. Last night, I want to thank the assembly member in his absence, my district leader, because last night we were endorsed by the Kings County Democratic Organization.
Yes.
He did, and the assembly member led the way, and so in his absence, I am so indebted to my assembly member. And we were also, as you know, last week endorsed by the Bronx County Democratic Organization. So we've got 2 counties under our belt, which is why I'm now running to Staten Island, because I want a 3rd. We've been endorsed by a number of unions in the city of New York, and we anticipate some major announcements in the next week, next week, of some major endorsements. And so I really need your support. I really need your prayers. There's a target on my back, and but we can do this. We can do this because the constituency is there. We can do this because the name recognition is there. We can do this because we have worked hard all of our lives. I'm changing titles, but I'm not changing my position in who I am. I will continue to still be Tish James over here. There's a house, we'll knock on a door. And I will continue to serve all of you, because all that I am is a simple public servant. And that's all that I've ever wanted to be, because much has been given to me and therefore much is owed. And I recognize where I come from and where I'm going. And my job is basically to serve you, and my job is to remind City Hall, whoever the next mayor is, that there is a constituency that really needs to be heard. When you see my face, they see your face, and I talk about your issues. So may God continue to bless each and every one of you, and I thank you for this opportunity. And